Are you looking for some more books to enhance your Dungeons & Dragons game, whether you're a player or a dungeon master, that aren't necessarily books put out by Wizards of the Coast? There are a lot of really great resources out there, and today I've got 3 more books to show you. Come on, adventurers! I don't know about you, but I love having some additional resources to use for my Dungeons & Dragons games, whether I'm doing world building or just trying to enhance an existing adventure. I previously did a video that covered 4 other books that aren't from Wizards of the Coast that you can find right up here. And today, I'm going to cover 3 more great books that I found. The first book is Random Tables, Cities and Towns by Dr. Tim Woods. I love books of random tables. They really help me out a lot, whether I'm just not in a creative mood or I just need that jumping off point to spark my creativity and get it going. If you love random table books, comment down below. So this random table book is specifically all about building your cities and towns. Now you could use this if you're homebrewing a campaign and creating your own world, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't use this even if you're running a Wizards of the Coast pre-published adventure. How many times do your players ask you random questions about, well, what shop is across the street from the inn? Well, what shops are down that street? Or what businesses are over there? This book states that it's the game master's companion for developing inns, shops, taverns, settlements, and more. Let's take a look. So this book is broken down into 3 main sections: places, people, and property. Now, property sounds like places again, but it means items and objects, not real estate. Now, as with any random table book, you're always welcome to just read through the table and pick ideas that sound interesting to you. But some people love to bust out the dice and make a roll. This book starts off helping you develop your towns, cities, hamlets, and villages that are in your world. Right up by the headline on each page, it tells you what dice size you're going to need to roll on this table. For town sizes, use a D6. For town governments, use a D20. Some of the tables in this book are just a list, but some of them even give descriptions. This table for town sizes, you roll a d6 and maybe the next city or town along this road is a village. And it says a small settlement has a very rustic quality. The people here are often outnumbered by the wild animals and livestock, but the village manages to support a variety of different shops and industries thanks to the farmers and other people who flock in from the countryside on a weekly basis. This book has so many great ideas for describing and building your towns, cities, and villages. You've got a table of town alignments, leadership quirks, town guard features, unique city defenses, and then it gets into buildings. One thing I love about this book is many of the tables actually have a modifier that you can add depending on the quality of the local neighborhood. This chart of buildings you roll a D100 for, but the chart actually goes up to 140. And that's because you're going to add a modifier depending on if the neighborhood is impoverished, low quality, average quality, high quality, or noble quality. So as you go down the list, the buildings get more and more grand because those would only be found in a noble neighborhood. Once you get into the people section, there are D100 charts for their mood, D20 charts for local gossip and rumors, even charts for random bystanders, traffic hazards, and animals and livestock that may be roaming around. I really like the list of tavern patrons, unique tavern features, and even mysterious strangers. If I used the tavern's patron chart and rolled a d20, maybe I come up with the traveler for getting an 8. This person looks lonesome and quiet at the bar. They go to bed early to set out before first light. They've learned information from nearby towns that they've traveled through. Lastly, we get to the section on property. You've got a pickpocket table, a table of what might be in the garbage, tables for tools, weapons, and armor that might be found, musical instruments, contents of a vault or a safe, and even graves of people in the local cemetery. This book has over 160 pages of some really great random tables for developing cities and towns. Next, I've got another book of random tables, and this one is all about quests. This is by Matt Davids, and this book is going to help you come up with quest ideas for your adventure. This could be used for homebrew, or it could be added again to published adventures to put some side quests in for interest. This one's about 80 pages, and it's broken down into different contents like dungeon hooks, royal quests, forest quests, doorways to another world, town quests, sea quests, questing beasts, quest objects, lost cities, and meta quests. Adventurers, if you enjoy all things tips, tricks, unboxings, and reviews about Dungeons & Dragons, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my epic upcoming videos. All the random tables in this book are based on a D100, so no matter which table you turn to, it's always going to be roll a D100, or just pick your favorite. Coming up with really unique quest ideas can be quite a challenge sometimes, and this book is full of great ideas. Let's check some of them out. For dungeon hooks, let's see, we have ideas like, someone claims to have seen a light at the ruins of the old fortress the other night. Is it possible there could still be something valuable there after all these years? Or how about, while traveling along the road, the party spots a parchment tacked to a tree by a dagger. It's a map to a dungeon. Here's some really neat ones under the royal quests. There's been a rebellion at the copper mine. The king would like the matter resolved and the work resumed. He's not concerned with methods, just results. Or how about, the royal servants are reporting strange sounds coming from the lowest level of the storage cellars. The party's asked to investigate, and the king has promised a reward. Now, the beasts in this book are really cool too. Now, it doesn't provide any stats, but it would give you a really neat idea for a beast that then you could probably look through the monster manual, find a beast kind of similar, and use those stats, but with this description. Now, my favorite section of this book is the meta quests at the end. The author up in the front kind of describes the meta quest section similar to playing the Fallout video game and searching for all the bobbleheads. They're just like quick little side quests of things to collect that just can add some interest to your game. There's things on these tables like gather 80 ivory buttons, find 50 silver coins of crom, capture 9 bats, collect 5 silver fox furs. The author describes this book as having two purposes, to both help cut down on prep time and provide some really interesting adventures for your party. Adventurers, if you're enjoying this video, could you go ahead and hit that like button, give us a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel more than you know. Now for a book that's not full of random tables, but still excellent. This is the Arcane Artifacts and Curious Curios by Madeline Hale. This is over 400 pages filled with exactly 1,000 different artifacts that you can put into your adventure. This book can still be treated as though it does have a random table because it has 10 chapters, each with 100 items for a total of 1,000. So if you wanted, you could roll a D10 to tell you what chapter to go to, and then a D100 to pick an item, and there's your random item out of 1,000. Let's see how the author has broken down these chapters. Chapter 1 is jewelry, 2 is clothing, 3 is armor, 4 is weapons, chapter 5 is books, journals, and scrolls. Chapter 6 is potions, foods, and drinks. 7 has tools, equipment, and household objects. Chapter 8 is containers. Chapter 9 is trinkets and knickknacks. And chapter 10 is miscellaneous. How about item number 237, the Armor of Aid? One thing I love about this book is it describes the appearance of the item, the enchantment it has, and even gives you a little bit of history. So the Armor of Aid says, the appearance is pale silver plate armor with a holy sigil etched in the breastplate. A red silk sash runs from the left shoulder to the right hip. For the enchantment, it says, while worn, all healing spells cast by the user increase in strength. Now, it doesn't give you any specifics, so it's up to you as a Dungeon Master how you want to use that in your game. How do you want to have it increase in strength? Does it heal extra people? Does the healing go up by a dice size? A lot of these just give you the initial idea and let you kind of come up with the details of exactly how that item works. For the history of the Armor of Aid, it says this armor was the uniform of the Paladins of Aid, a collection of paladins that were sent by the church to aid those in need. Usually the paladin was sent as penitence for some sin or slight against a temple, and warriors who were ordered to serve time in the Paladins of Aid considered it a punishment. Here's another one, a holy longbow. A longbow made of ebony, speckled with golden leaves. This bow glows with holy light, doing 1d6 radiant damage and additional 1d6 holy damage to all undead creatures. For history, it says, this bow was carried by Gosh Efman, a famously talented archer who roamed the kingdom in search of the legendary Bow of Song. After searching for decades and never finding what he was looking for, he retired to the countryside where he lived the rest of his life in peace. Here's another one of my favorites from the food and drink section, Granny's Hot Cocoa. A clay jar full of sweet-smelling cocoa powder. The label was obviously written by an old shaky hand. 1 cup of this hot cocoa warms the user right down to their bones, keeping them safely warm in extremely cold temperatures for 4 hours. For history, it says this cocoa was made by Granny Ivermore, a sweet and elderly sorcerer who lives in a little cottage at the base of the northern mountains. She often makes hot cocoa for travelers heading up into the cold peaks, using her little enchantments to keep them safe and warm on their journeys. I think it would be really neat to see how some of your players come up with ideas to use some of these objects. They make for great role-playing opportunities. Some of them, like this one, are so neat. The Mood Llama. It's a small stuffed llama made from soft white wool. The tiny cartoon expression on the llama's face changes to mimic the mood of the user. Here's the history. The llama was made by the priests of the Sacred Body, a temple known for their medical abilities. They would give the llama to children who were reluctant to talk about how they were feeling. While some of these items you might come up with ideas on actual enchantments that they provide or enhancements like a +1 weapon or add to the damage or the attack roll or maybe advantage on a saving throw, but some of them can just be really interesting, neat little quirky ideas, and then just wait and see what kind of interesting stuff your players come up with on how to use it. For the epic question of the day, let me know in the comments down below. If you found any of these books interesting, do you think you might pick these up and use these in your game? Do you enjoy random table books or books of extra artifacts and things that you can use in your game? I also think a lot of these books make great gift ideas. If you're looking for something really unique to get as a gift for someone that you know is into role-playing games, these are great ideas. We also have Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up, so don't forget that these might be great additions to their library too. Next up, you're going to want to watch some more of my unboxing and review videos for more Mother's Day and Father's Day gift ideas. Make sure you click that on the next screen and I'll see you in that video. Go have an epic adventure.